Sure. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about Mariv Torah. Some people are upset that there's people not listening to the COVID regulations properly, and that's fully understandable and justifiable. Nevertheless, maybe we can offer some sort of not justification but insight. Let's start with Mariv. We say Mariv. We're going to be davening Mariv soon in Mitzvah Hashem. We have two brachas, now we have Shema. First bracha, Shabbat Vorei Mariv Arovim, then we have Abbas Oilam. First bracha is about how Hashem brings day and night. The second one is about Hashem's everlasting love for us, and then Shema Yisroel. So, from what I understand, it goes like this. We start off Shabbat Vorei Mariv Arovim. These are what Hashem does in bringing night, changing the times through Chochmah, through Tvuna. He changes the day, the times. What are we saying with that? And so we carry on. Then we say we have a whole list. So we're saying like this: all these things, creating day and night, moving, bringing on the day from the night, exchanging the day from the night, differentiating between the day and the night. All of these things, not all these things, the one who does all these things, Hashem Tzvah Shemoy, that's Hashem. And then we finish off, so what we seem to be saying is like this, that Hashem does everything with Chochmah, and taking that further, all the changes that we have in the world is really produced by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In that expectation, Hashem is going to rule over us forever. In other words, in life, there are many different phenomena, many different aspects, many different kufas, and a person can can easily get carried away with them and traumatized. Today we got this, and tomorrow we got this, and now we got day, now we got night, now we got this difficult, and now it's easy, now we got this kufa. So the first thing, if a person remembers that no, it's really HaKadosh Baruch Hu doing everything, in which case there's not really many tkufas, there's only one tkufa, there's only one thing that's happening. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'chochmos v'tzvunos is changing things and is bringing these changes about, and we are sort of within that bubble, within that arena of Hashem controlling everything. With that realization, it's easier to appreciate and to actualize. First of all, it's an expectation. Hashem will be but it's also an obligation. So to speak, if a person realizes the whole time he's working within the infrastructure of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing, it's not this season and this situation and this challenge. It's rather all HaKadosh Baruch Hu pulling all these strings, so a person can more readily relate to sort of HaKadosh Baruch Hu within all of these various changing dynamic world. Based on that, we carry on. Bnei Yisroel, Hashem's love for Klal Yisrael is everlasting. Therefore, Hashem we're going to talk about your Torah and delight in it and exert ourselves in it. These words of the Torah, that's our life. So it's saying we're going to be applying ourselves very diligently to the Torah. And that means not just that the implication perhaps of that is if we're applying ourselves very diligently to the Torah, so that sort of has an effect that our whole life sort of, so to speak, becomes related to the Torah, becomes viewed through the perspective of Torah. By us, there's not such a differential between day and night. It's a continuation of the first bracha. It's not day and night. It's what we're learning during the day, or what we're learning during the night. It's the mitzvahs we're doing during the day. It's the mitzvahs we're doing it during the night. That really is the focus of our time and our days, and that should help. Therefore, Hashem will never remove His love for us because it's enduring. Just like our life is also a constant of being involved in. Despite day and night, despite different kufas, despite different challenges, we have one fairly steady type of existence, which is that of being immersed in Torah. Somebody who is really totally immersed in Torah, whose whole life is focused on that, they don't really know so much day night. Obviously they're aware. They have to do or whatever they have to do at various times. but it's more peripheral. The primary focus is going to be on what we're doing in learning Torah. And that's Akdama Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. We can really appreciate Hashem Echad. Hashem is the only thing. Hashem sort of unites everything. Everything in the world is really one aspect. Is part of Hashem Echad. Hashem unites everything. There is nothing else except Hashem running the world, and we not just intellectually recognizing it, but actively recognizing it, and the way we live our life. Particularly, the kli that's given to us, the means that's given to us to really actualize this is studying Torah. That's something a person can immerse himself in completely. And with that, Hashem Echad, there is nothing else except a person is united with Hashem in the Torah. I was thinking recently, we say all these brachas in the morning. Everything. This list of brachas is to inculcate within us that what is the nusach of a bracha we always say? Baruch Ato Hashem. That's basically the basic bracha, Elokeinu. What's the Baruch Ato Hashem? So I was thinking it's a person when they have a new car, they have a new house, they have a new clothes, they have a new simcha, so yeah, they're going to say this gewaltige simcha, this gewaltige car, this gewaltige deal, this gewaltige person. But when they get used to saying brachas, Baruch Hashem, so it's Baruch Ato Hashem. You're the one that gets the Baruch Hashem, not this thing. You might be sort of the first reaction is to think, wow, this is a gewaltige car, and then Baruch Ato Hashem. The idea is ultimately to come to Baruch Ato Hashem. You're the one that gets the Baruch HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because everything really is a manifestation of the good that you have given us. So we have the famous Medrash Tanchuma on Parshas Noach. The Medrash Tanchuma, we used to learn this Baruch Hashem of the Shabbos and the children. The Medrash Tanchuma has a whole arichos about Torah Shebal Peh. It's a long Medrash Tanchuma, just a couple of quotes. He talks about Torah Shebal Peh. Lo yikoras HaKadosh Baruch Hu Bris Yisroel, Torah Shebal Peh, that's the bris HaKadosh Baruch Hu has with Am Yisrael. And he brings at the end that, how Klal Yisrael have to devote themselves, and they deny themselves perhaps from the over involving themselves in the pleasure of this world through the Yigiyah in Torah Shebal Peh, through the hard work in Torah Shebal Peh. It talks about the Oisen Shtei Yeshivas. There was always two yeshivas in Yisrael that never stopped. And they used to be running the whole time, even during the Hoigim Batera Yomim V'Layla. Oisen Shtei Yeshivas Leiro Shavi V'Leishmad V'Leishlal V'Leishola Behem Le'Yovam V'Le'edoim. He repeats again, Le'Ishola Behem Le'Edoim V'Le'Yovon V'Le'Gozor Alem Shmad. V'Af Le'Moisa Mashiach Ein Roin Chev Le'Shem Mashiach. These yeshivas, they don't experience all the Golus, and they left the Golus, they left Eretz Yisrael early. They went into Bovel. And you might say, hey, these guys suffered, they had the Golus first. But I think it's saying on the contrary. These yeshivas, they represent the pinnacle of Klal Yisrael involving themselves with Torah Shebal Peh. Torah Shebal Peh is the kli through which a person can totally involve himself in this world with a spiritual matter. And that seems to free oneself from the tides and flows and all sorts of traumatic events and differing events that occur in the world. But if a person is sort of in this bubble, which is Torah Shebal Peh, and these yeshivas, then Leiro Shevi Leishma V'Leishalo V'Leishola Behem Yovam V'Le'edoim. Why? Because they're not even there, they don't even hear, they're not even geiros, that they're immersed fully in the Torah. Torah Shebal Peh in particular. That's the bris. The bris means united with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When they're united with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in that mechitza, Torah Shebal Peh seems to be the way in which a person can unite with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the way, the simple explanation is, this world has got all sorts of distractions and pulls on a person, and that sort of is the mechitza between a person and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If a person is somehow able to override these and not to be geiros, not so much to be aware even of all these various distractions, then naturally it's coming close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Torah Shebal Peh is the way of doing that. That everything is through that perspective, everything is focused on that. And these distractions are far more secondary, they're not even noticed to a certain extent. And that answers the very obvious question, what is this huge medrash Tanchuma doing in Parshas Noach? Should be in Parshas Mishpatim, in Parshas Yisroel, Parshas Nitzavim Vayelech, HaKadosh Baruch Hu talks about the midas of Torah. Why is it doing in Parshas Noach? And I think the answer is fairly straightforward. The Parshas Noach was the Tevas Noach. Noach, there was a Mabul, there was a Gzera in the whole world. And Noach was saved. Hashem says, build a Teva. Go inside the Teva and that's going to save you. And how does the Teva save Noach? So yeah, obviously it's got the physical and structural protective layers and elements that rendered Noach impervious to the effects of the Mabul. But also, what was Noach doing in the Teva? He was being oisik the whole time in Chesed, in Mekayim, and in Mekayim all the animals, looking after all their needs on a non-stop basis. The world outside was Hishchis Kol Bosa, was a world of Ashchosa, violence. And Noach was quite the opposite. He was busying himself with Chesed. That was the way in which he was able to disassociate himself from the world. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him a kli that he was able to completely disassociate himself from the world. You're going to be busy, Noach, with something that's completely different from what the world is busy. That's the way that somehow the Gezer that's on the world is not going to be chal on you, Noach. You're in a different dimension. You're in the Teva. And why is it Torah tells about the story of the Teva? Not so that archaeologists can go and try and find and prove was there a Mabul, was there not a Mabul. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the Teva because that's really, if it's a Torah, it's eternal. So we all know the Beis HaMedrash is our Teva. A person can go into the Beis HaMedrash, and if they evolve themselves properly in the Torah, so they're not really, there might be a Mabul outside. They're not even aware of it. They're busy with something else. There's no greater distraction or threat than a Mabul, which is all around. And yet the Teva perhaps is giving the koyach. If a person is busying himself with what he's meant to be doing, with his spiritual pursuits, then what's going on outside is less relevant. It's not even happening to him. It's happening in the world, but he's not even part of that world really. So coming to our parsha, it says in Parshas Masei, we have a whole list of masois. So very briefly, Rashi tells us that one of the pshatim in Rashi, it's a mashal to a king who was going with a son who was sick, and Baruch Hashem was zeicher to put a shtickle on it, much greater length, which I'll put a link here, but basically, from my understanding, what Rashi is telling us is the idea of the masois. There was these long journeys, 42 journeys that Klal Yisrael spent with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Golus, so to speak, when they were both in Golus. So that cemented a very close relationship between Klal Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In preparation for exiting, the Midbar was also like a sort of a development of a fetus before they came out to the world. When we're sort of in a cocoon, removed from the world, only with HaKadosh Baruch Hu together. Creating that relationship such that when we exit and we come into the big world and we have to deal with all the challenges of the world, but essentially we can maintain, Klal Yisrael given that koyach, that they can maintain that sort of environment, that sterile environment where they're completely removed, bamidbar, from what's going on, what's raging outside in the world. And with that I understood. The Torah describes the journeys. First of all, it's 42 journeys, which is a mibar tabon, the idea of being completely immersed in that and removed from anything else. And one of the journeys says, "Vayis'u me piachirois, vayachnu piachirois, vayis'u me piachirois, vayavru b'seich hayom hamidboro, vayelchu derech shlosh b'midbar Esav, vayachnu b'moro." They left piachirois, which was the penultimate stop before the actual freedom. Vayavru b'seich hayom, they went into the Yam hamidboro, towards the Midbar. And then afterwards they emerged. They went 3 days in Midbar Esav. And they encamped in Moro. And what's the pasuk telling us? And not just that. What's the pasuk telling us? There's a major pella here. We have on Pesach, we go at Chatzois on the Erev last day of Pesach. We have all sorts of celebrations and we make a huge Indian of Shvishal Pesach of Kriyas Yamsuf. We have a whole parashas B'Shalach. We have a shir we say every day about Kriyas Yamsuf, the lead up to it, the dramatic events, the shira after the ultimate victory that Hashem wrote for Klal Yisrael against Mitzrayim, the of all shirim, shira Aziz Hashem. All that in Parashas Masei has got 3 words. Vayisavim piachiros. Vayavru b'soich hayom. Vayavru b'soich hayom ha'ibor. 4 words. Sorry. 4 words. The whole Kriyas Yamsuf is Vayavru b'soich hayom ha'midboro. Sorry. Vayavru b'soich hayom. 3 words. Vayavru b'soich hayom ha'ibor to the midbar. So why does Kriyas Yamsuf, the events of Kriyas Yamsuf, not deserve a slightly more significant mention? So I wanted to suggest that no, that's exactly what the Torah is telling us. That there's 2 parshas of Kriyas Yamsuf. There's a parsha of Kriyas Yamsuf and parshas B'Shalach, and there's a parsha of Kriyas Yamsuf and parshas Masei. And the difference is there's 40 years of midbar in between them. What it means is, after 40 years of midbar, the Pshas, we've been with HaKadosh Baruch Hu now for 40 years. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has been looking after Klal Yisrael for 40 years. We're sort of completely removed from the world. Our whole existence of Klal Yisrael is being immersed in themselves in the Torah with Moshe Rabbeinu, the Tzaddikim, and in the Mechitzos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So when you first saw Kriyas Yamsuf, it was wow. It was a huge wow. It was an amazing event, and like it was, we had such levels of nevuah that kept us going for till Yechezkel and beyond. However, perhaps there's also a perspective of when you're with HaKadosh Baruch, once you appreciate looking back, really what happened, how did Kriyas Yamsuf work? Hashem did a gewaltige nes, but there's another way of looking at it, from a perspective, a slightly different perspective. That you go into the sea, hey, the sea's all around, it's going to drown us, what's going to be? That's if you realize you're in the sea. That's if you're looking all around the sea, wow, what's going to be? If you're if you're actually one-to-one, you've got the Amud Eish, the Amud Onon, you've got the Kodesh Baruch Hu with you. So in that case, that's where you are. Where are you? You're with HaKadosh Baruch Hu in that place, that intimate place. And when you're with HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Mechitza, everything else is completely irrelevant. You don't even see it. You weren't even aware of Hayam. So maybe that's what the Pasuk is telling you. V'yavru b'soich hayom. Yeah, they've got the Onon HaKavod, they've got the Kodesh Baruch Hu with them. They made it was Kriyas Yamsuf. They went into the Yam. There was no question. It was part of the general journey, part of the routine of when you go with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. So you go wherever you go. That's what we're doing. We're walking with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Hamid Boro, and the idea was Hamid Boro. The Pasuk is emphasizing we went towards the Midbar. Lech tech acharei b'Midbar. Klal Yisrael had no compunction whatsoever, had no problems going in towards the Midbar. What's going to be in the Midbar? We're going to be there 40 years. Yeah, we're with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We don't even see, we're not so much aware even the fact that there is a Midbar. They encamped in Moro. Shad is like this. They came to Moro. Moro is a place of bitter. They went 3 days in the Midbar. Yes, they complained in the end. There was no, we know that in Mora they complained there was no more. There was no water. That was after 3 days. However, initially, they thought that it's not a problem to climb in Mora. Avada in Mora there's going to be HaKadosh Baruch Hu is providing for us everything. After we come to the Midbar, there's nothing to worry about Bichlal. In actual fact, those in Israel, we weren't quite on a level. We didn't have perhaps enough Torah with us, so there was a slight fall. So we left Moro, we came to Elim. That was where HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually provided what we were expecting. However, that's the overall general lesson, that's the perspective, I think, of Masei. That when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you're with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in His Mechitza, then there's nothing else going on. So maybe I was saying like this, there's the word at Kufa, there's a Magefa, terrible Magefa that's raging. And a person has to be very careful. This person has to is sorrow. And a person should not be mizalzel at all. And I'm not the one what to give any instructions to anyone. So I'm just saying, talking to myself. Maybe my 1 month old granddaughter, maybe. But I said there's three. I see there seems to be 3 categories of approaches. One is there's a Magefa going on, and we have to understand it, and what's biological, and what's the virus, and what they're doing, when they're going to develop a vaccine, what type of pills are effective against it, what type of social distancing is effective, to what extent should we be wearing a mask, how many people should we be having in this meeting, how many should we be davening inside, how many outside, how many social events are we going to, how many days should we be spending in separation, what sort of degree of epidemiological research and tracing is appropriate, etc., etc. That's one means of focus. Another slightly more introspective means of focus says, there's a Magefa going, it's not Poshet. We have to start What's going on? So there are Klal Yisrael have taken to heart different approaches, all of which Avada need chizuk. The Gedolim have been telling us, and all these things have to be chazik. We were locked out the shuls. Obviously, we're not respecting properly the shuls and davening in our approach to the shuls, the way we conduct ourselves. Also, social distancing maybe suggests that perhaps we have not been or Avas Yisrael, perhaps, the way we conduct our personal relations, perhaps has been problematic, is being subject here to question. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, you don't appreciate each other, say, I'm going to force you to maintain social distancing one from another. Maybe our mouths have been covered because our speech perhaps has been improper. That's the second approach. And there's perhaps a third approach, which people are perhaps upset about, that certain people don't even they don't even see the Mageifa, not fully aware that there is a Mageifa even going on. Certain people who perhaps are in the Beis HaMedrash, and they don't seem to be aware, they don't seem to be enforcing properly social distancing, they don't seem to be properly taking precautions, they don't even seem to be aware that there are people getting sick, even perhaps in their midst. They just seem to be carrying on. And certainly not for me to make any comment or any judgment about anyone, but perhaps just the one might understand that these perhaps are people who don't even see. Perhaps they're so deeply in the Tevas Noach, they're so deeply in the Midbar, they're so deeply walking, so intensely walking with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they're not even fully aware that actually is a Mageifa. What's going on? And on, or from another perspective, you wouldn't tell them to stop eating or to stop breathing. For these people, it's like eating and breathing. There's two ways of looking at the question: should we have a minyan? Should we not have a minyan? One question is, should we have a minyan? Should we not? So there's a risk. Of course, you shouldn't have a minyan. There's another perspective to that question. I'm in the middle of davening. I'm in the middle of learning. So my question is, should I stop? You want me to stop in the middle of learning, middle of davening? I should close the Gemara in the middle of the Taisis. So some people are constantly in the middle of the Taisis. So it's a different question you have to ask. One question is someone, should I go to shul? Should I learn? Should I start learning? Should we start a minyan? There's another question, if you're in the middle of it, should you stop mamish and mitten? It's a different type of question. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that can help to understand a little bit. Not enough to mean everyone has to be careful and follow Rabbonim, and we're being even more machmir than the doctors, because we value pikuach nefesh more. But the question, perhaps to give a little bit of understanding to those who don't hear. Do we have to shout at these people who are not hearing? Do we have to shout at them louder? Do we have to bang on the table and tell these guys there's a mabul going on outside? Or maybe not. I don't know. And also, I couldn't resist. There's a Das Keni, which we're going to talk about in the Parshas Masei, which is quite long, about Yoyov. But very briefly, he brings appropriately there that David HaMelech was confronted by the Kodesh Baruch Hu because he counted Am Yisrael. He was given by the Kodesh Baruch Hu three choices: either you are going to have Ira'ov, or you're going to have a Milchoma. You're going to have to go to Milchoma outside of where you are, or there's going to be a Mageifa, a Dever. And David HaMelech said, I'm going to choose the Mageifa. And why? Because he said, Niplono, this is what possibly we say every day. David God, Sali Mo'id, Niplono biyad Hashem, ki rabbi mrachmo v'yodom ala pilo. I don't want to be totally on anyone else, on anything else. I only want to be biyad Hashem. So Mageifa is biyad Hashem. So I was thinking maybe that's part of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu was saying. Maybe there was Chas v'Shalom, it's like Gzeira on Am Yisrael. We have many enemies. Or maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, if David HaMelech made the choice for us already. Hashem says, you're not be behaving yourself. I mean, counting Klal Yisrael maybe means we've been sort of too engrossed, too focused on what's good, on our koiches, on how well we're doing, that to a certain extent a person forgets HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Hashem says, okay, you're chayv. Like he said to David HaMelech. What are you going to choose? So Hashem chose for us. He said, I'm not going to deliver into your enemies. I'm going to give you a Mageifa. Because that's Niplon Abiyad Hashem. So my remez was, can never resist the remez. The focus. I'm going to stop this and try and change. So of course I can't resist remez, which of course will ruin this for everyone. Why are you bothering to talk about these remozim? So this is Milsa de B'dichusa. You could say there's a remez even in the pasuk, perhaps to this matzah. It's only a remiza ba'alma. Niplono, I don't know if you can see it. Niplono biyad Hashem kirabim rachamov. Rachamov maybe is like Korona. Kirabim is virus. Biyad Hashem, biyad chovvov is COVID. Niplono is the novel. Novel from the base, from beforehand. And the Imid Dovid God Sarli Ma'oid is Shinain Tes. So maybe Korona instead of Iran. Kodesh Baruch was telling us, I'm sending you this instead of you. Otherwise, you're going to be falling to your enemies. Maybe Iran had certain plans. So Kodesh Baruch says, okay, better for Klal Yisrael, it should be in my hands than in Iran and the Khomeini. We should be in the Kirabim Rachamov. Anyway, I hope this has been of some interest to somebody, and everyone should have gesund, nachas, brios, and should be busying themselves with good things, including and especially me. Just to add for the record that this was mischadish to me at some point, doesn't matter when I was in the Belza Beis HaMedrash.